Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to How to Make a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG. I hope you're not here to learn to do character creation, the right way at least, because this is a cat creation podcast. I am a partial host of this show. Yeah, only part of me is the host. Joel.
And I am the other partial host of this show, and I am Avalon.
He puts his all into it.
Yeah, I put I come at 110% every time.
I don't know if I have 110% in me, so I don't do that.
Where does that other 10% come from, you might ask? The world may never know.
He steals it from me.
That's true. That's why Joel's only here partially.
I got 90% for you. Take it or leave it.
All right, Joel, what are we looking at today?
Oh, I thought you picked the game.
Oh, right. We are looking at Fate of Cthulhu. That is about going back in time to stop Cthulhu from rising up and taking over the world.
Is it just Cthulhu?
I don't think it's just Cthulhu. I've read a little bit of this book, and it seems like there are other options to go with.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, this is Fate of Cthulhu. This is a Evil Hat Productions game made with the Fate system. The premise is basically your characters come from a dark future where Eldritch horrors have awakened and messed things up for everybody, right?
Classic.
So your goal is to go back in time to before they mess everything up and stop them from messing everything up. The stars cannot align for Cthulhu to his alarm to go off and for him to arise from the ocean. So you gotta go back in time and stop that somehow.
Yeah, and how would you stop a cosmic being from waking up? Just hit a snooze button.
Yep, you gotta hit the big old cosmic snooze button. Put a blanket up so no one can see the constellations. Something like that, you know?
Throw it right over Orion's belt, his waist down. From the waist down, he gets a little cold.
Yeah. Of course, if you were to just hold a blanket up to the sky to stop the stars from aligning, it's not like they do it in the movies. You would have to hold it there for a few hundred years, because stars don't actually move that fast relative to Earth.
That's true, but you'd only have to hold it up at nighttime, because during the day he can't see the stars.
It's Night Shift's job to take it when it's daytime for you.
Yeah.
That guy lives on the other side of the planet. You don't have to worry about him. Anyway, we should probably actually make a character at some point, so let's talk about the cat creation rules.
Yes.
If this is your first episode, because for some reason Fate of Cthulhu is your favorite game, I don't know why I said it like that.
God, throwing shade, man. We're not even 5 minutes in.
I'm sorry. Anyway, if this is your favorite RPG and or your first episode, then you may not know about the cat creation rules. They are rules that our show follows to make sure that we stay on target, on mission, on cat, so that we're making a cat.
Yes.
And rule number 1, the most important one, following this logic, is we accept no cop-outs. We're making a cat, the exact animal that comes to mind when I say the word. No anthropomorphic races, no people turned into cats, no lions, no tigers, no eldritch horrors shaped like a cat, or any other cop-out you could imagine. This isn't Cthulhu. That's a different RPG.
Is there actually an RPG called Cthulhu?
Yeah. We almost did it, but the character creation stuff was too short, so...
Oh, but on to rule number 2. We cannot use homebrew/house rules. If the rules in the rulebook don't let us do something, we count it as a rule broken. Come across rules as written versus rules as intended, we break whichever one tells us no. AKA, if we're intended to play as a human, playing as a cat, obviously, that's a rule broken.
Yep, we come across that one a lot.
Yeah.
Rule number 3, if the game includes stats for a literal cat, those must be used or adapted to the game's character sheet. As far as I can tell, and I've looked a couple times at this point, there is not a generic Fate cat character archetype or anything like that. No enemy type or anything. If there was gonna be something like that, I think we would have to make it.
I think we've already made it with how many Fate games we've played at this point.
Yeah, but we've not done just like Fate core, so there's not a generic template cat, you know?
Yeah, true.
We're also not gonna do that because games with no settings don't give us much direction to work with.
Yeah. All right. Rule number 4 is the character, class, background, playbook, job, what have you, must exist in the game's core rules or as part of an official expansion. We cannot use homebrew classes. They do not exist. And I believe this game does not have an official expansion, at least not one that we're looking at today.
As far as I can tell, no. I don't think this was a very popular RPG. If the response to it on Twitter is anything to go by from when it first came out.
Oh, was it bad?
I mean, a lot of people who are big fans of, like, Lovecraftian horror felt like it was kind of antithetical to the idea of cosmic horror, that you would actually be able to successfully go back in time and stop an elder god from rising.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'm not like a big like fan of the genre or horror in general, so I am not the person to weigh in on this. But
yeah, what can you do? You know, everybody likes their.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
I think we're on to rule number 5.
Let's see. The cat can learn any skill available to its class, even if it's not something a cat could normally be trained to do. That's rule number 5. So we've had cats that could use psychic powers because it was a superhero game. We have one cat that came dangerously close to being forklift certified. Another cat who actually was forklift certified.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cat who invented a gun. We love him.
Yep, great guy.
Yeah, based on one of Avalon's cats.
All right, but yes, cats can learn a lot of stuff as long as the book permits. But what a cat can't do leads us to rule number 6. If a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized for them, they cannot use it. So we're talking like a screwdriver, maybe a gear shift in a car, maybe a hair dryer, a nail filer. I gotta hold that thing. I don't think a cat can do that.
Probably not. Although, if you've seen Sabrina and the Teenage Witch, the sitcom series, that cat has definitely used a nail filer.
That's true. That he's got that sassy nail filer vibe that he does. But
I mean, there's 2 problems with that. First off, that's not a literal cat. That's a puppet. Second, that's not a literal cat in fiction. That's a guy they turned into a cat.
Yeah. So much going on there.
Anyway, rule number 7. If a character sheet has a section that is meant to be filled out in collaboration with the whole table, we leave that blank so potential players can make it fit the group they're playing with. Honestly, that might describe rule 1 now that I'm thinking about it.
Does it?
We'll get to this in a minute, but like if every character is supposed to come from the same timeline, I'm not 100% sure that's true. But if that is the case, then yeah.
Oh, yeah, you might be right. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, which will be soon. But rule number 8, and the last on our list, is we have to keep track of every rule that we break. So for your and your GM sanity, if this cat ends up going into your games, you'll know how many rules you have to break to fit this bad boy in.
Yeah. So, like, the book itself says, like, this game is more of, like, an Aliens or a Terminator vibe than, like, actual Lovecraftian horror.
Okay. I can vibe with that.
Yeah. So, like, you know, the Terminator movies, a lot of them involve, like, someone going back in time to stop or delay the Terminator's plans, right? That's what those, like, the AI uprising or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's more, the idea is to have more on those lines. Like, you're fighting an uphill battle against a grim future that is already in motion by time you get back. So.
But if you go back in time to stop the future, don't you stop yourself from being in that future, thus not being able to go back in time?
You don't have to think that deeply about it. It's just a game. I'm kidding.
No, you're right. We should,
I mean, in all seriousness, these are questions that you can ask your players, but we don't have to answer them right now on this show because we're just gonna make a cat.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, step 1 of the character creation process is pick your apocalypse.
And there are 5 to choose from.
Yeah, basically, every apocalypse has a different old god arise from the old god sleeping place. And that one will come and take over the earth and make everything suck.
Oh, those gods making everything suck all the time.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do when you're an Eldritch horror deity? Yeah, that's how that works. Anyway, So we can kind of alternate reading these, I guess. The first possible timeline we have is we are going back in time to stop the rise of the great Cthulhu. He's an enormous entity that emerges from the sea, and simply gazing upon it drives people insensible with terror. The stars were right for Cthulhu's return. Your job is to go back and make them wrong again.
Gotta hold that blanket up, man. Timeline number 2 is Dagon. Humanity is changed in mere hours as Dagon's return triggers mass mutations, leaving most dead and the survivors transformed into Deep Ones. You must investigate the Deep One's conspiracy and stop it before the whole of humanity is infected. Kind of like zombies. Maybe. I need more
I think
info.
they're more like fish people.
Fish zombies.
Yeah. Third possibility is Shub-Niggurath.
Sounds about right.
It's a tremendous monster, and her innumerable horrible spawn cover Earth, bar a few mysterious and shrinking safe zones. By returning to the past, you might discover who summoned this thing to Earth and why.
Classic evil villain just wanting to destroy Earth with no motive afterwards.
I mean, clearly they had a motive, right?
Yeah, but like, if your motive is, I'm gonna destroy the world, I mean, what are you gonna do after that?
Doesn't matter. World's gone.
World's gone. Everybody go home.
Except you don't have a home anymore, because it was on the world.
Don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Go to whatever comes next.
The fourth timeline is Nyarlathotep, however you say this. The president of Egypt abruptly declares himself the Dark Pharaoh, summons unspeakable alien horrors to his side, and then wars against the Earth. Only by going back to the beginning can you hope to understand what happened, let alone change it.
And then finally we have the King in Yellow. An incurable plague sweeps the world as a bizarre figure forces his lost kingdom to appear in our world. But can you go back to stop him without making things worse? And so, like, this is the part that, like, as I understand it, I think every character needs to be on the same timeline, if I understand things correctly.
How much does the timeline affect character creation, though? Like, would it be, like, say we went with Dagon, would it be that hard to just pick them up and place them into the Great Cthulhu timeline, or?
You know, that's not entirely clear. Let's see. Once you've decided on a timeline, it's time for players to make characters, also called PCs. Each player takes on the role of one of the heroes of this adventure, controlling all their actions. You get to build the character you want to see in the world. Okay, so one moment. There's a personal timeline. The first thing you'll need to decide is whether your character comes from the future or the present. Characters from the future are invariably corrupted by the Great Old One. Coming back through time requires a sacrifice of self. No one escapes without corruption, mutations of body and mind, etc. So you don't actually have to be from the future. You could be from the present and either just get randomly caught up in this or learn about what's coming somehow.
Okay, so do you think it'd be best to set this character in the present then? That way they're not afflicted by a specific timeline's influence, maybe?
I mean, would you rather do that than have a time-traveling cat?
No. If I'm being honest.
Exactly. We knew what we signed up for when we got this game.
So, okay, we have our own personal timelines. So I guess we just gotta choose one.
Yeah, I don't see any evidence that, like, the timeline from the past matters all that much. Although, if we really are from the future, then if there are different corruptions for different futures, then maybe it makes a difference.
Yeah, true.
Let's just work off the assumption that we come from the... I don't know, which one do you think sounds best?
Tough question.
I kind of like Dark Pharaoh.
I was about to say, yeah, Dark Pharaoh does sound pretty cool, like going back to the beginning, like the ancient times.
According to the lore, you only go back in time about 30 years.
Oh.
And it's a one-way trip.
Oh, well, you know, that's fine. 30 years from, I mean, does Egypt currently have like a presidential system?
I think so. I mean, not for long, apparently. It's about to become the Dark Pharaoh system, but like...
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a president of Egypt. So yeah, but yeah.
Well, there you go, everyone. We should probably already know this.
Yeah. We're dumb Americans. We don't know anything besides hamburger and internet. I don't know.
You found my knowledge gap anyway. I don't know who the president of Egypt is.
Well, I can tell you.
Oh, who is it?
It is Abdel Fattah el-Sisi.
Okay, I now know who the president of Egypt is.
There you go. You learn something new every day. All right.
Yep.
So, continuing character creation. It looks like we're going Nyarlathotep.
I think it's Nyarlathotep, maybe? Don't quote me on that. I've not read these books. I'm not a huge fan of Hit Points Lovecraft.
Okay, Google is telling me it's pronounced Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep. Okay. Well, we have an answer, folks.
It doesn't look like there's a place to put that on the character sheet, so just have to keep that in our mind.
Let's see, is there? That's interesting that they want us to establish a personal timeline and then don't put a spot for it.
Yeah. What could you do?
Anyway, so aspects is the next step, right? So these are phrases or short sentences that describe who your character is or what is important to them. They can relate to your character's history, beliefs, training, relationships, physical or mental qualities, or even particularly important equipment.
All right.
Aspects are true. In other words, how you define your character is real and true in the story you're telling. If you write down that your character is a precog sniper, they really are a precog sniper. You've told everyone that your character sees into the future and is a crack shot with a rifle.
Okay.
You'll also use aspects in play to change the story. They give you permission to improve your dice rolls and establish facts about the world.
Okay. So we're setting up some facets of this universe.
Yeah, of this character and concepts and themes.
It looks here like it says, to begin, you'll give your character 5 aspects, a high concept, a trouble, a relationship, and 2 free aspects. Start with the high concept and go from there. Our high concept is a broad description of the character covering the vital bits. That's how you would open your pitch for the character when telling a friend about them. If you're playing a character from the future, be sure to reference that in your high concept. We can go through these examples if you'd like.
Sure, we've got stuff like Professor of Ancient Linguistics at Miskatonic University, Historian from the Future, Only Survival of the Cult of Viridian Dawn, Private Detective Who Knows Too Much, or Post-Apocalyptic Survivalist Loner.
All right.
I mean, our high concept is obviously literal cat from the future.
Yes. And that's it. Nothing special about him. Okay. So that's our high concept, literal cat from the future. Tells you everything you need to know about the character.
Right off the bat, yep.
Up next would be our trouble. Next is your character's trouble. Something that makes your character's life more complicated. It could be a personal weakness, family entanglements, or other obligations. Some examples are the hounds of Tindalos have my scent, always tempted to use magic, my family's caught up in the conspiracies, utterly terrified of deep water, and about as subtle as a mule. What should our trouble be? So we're from the future. We're a cat that's been sent back in time. Do you think we did that ourselves, or do you think our trouble is that we got unknowingly mixed up in this?
I think unwitting arrival might be a good, like, this cat doesn't know why they're here. Maybe. Or something like that.
I think unwitting arrival is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Your relationships describes a connection with another player character. Typically, the characters already know one another or have just met. We have to skip this.
Yep, that is up to you, dear listener.
So, before I knew what the relationship was, I had a concept I was going to run by you.
Okay.
To, like, determine how this cat worked.
Okay.
Have you seen X-Men Days of Future Past?
I believe so, like a real long time ago.
Or maybe a better description would be like using, what's the system in the old Assassin's Creed games where you sent someone from the present back in time to view their ancestors' memories?
The Animus?
Yeah, that thing. So like, my thought was that maybe the time travel worked on sort of those lines where like you can't physically send something back in time, but you can transfer someone's consciousness to an ancestor in the past or something.
Okay, gotcha. I could see that.
It's like, this is, according to the actual written lore of the game, your character is from 30 years in our future.
Yes.
So, like, obviously there's not going to be this cat would not have been alive 30 years ago. Some of our other time travelers who came back on purpose, they may have been kids or something at the time, or they're going back to possess their parents or something. I don't know. But I think that might be an interesting bit of lore establishment. And I was hoping to do that through the relationship, but if that's specifically supposed to be with a PC, then we can't do that, obviously.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a way to do it with the free aspect.
Yeah. You want to read that, or would you like me to?
I can read it. You can make your character's last two aspects anything you want. There are no restrictions. Choose anything you think will make your character more interesting, more fun to play, or better able to defend the future from the great old ones.
Some examples here are, my revolver never lets me down. Do you know who my family is? The biggest person in the room. Light-fingered lockpicker, or high school track star.
Yeah, so we basically just have to choose aspects of our character that we think will make them more interesting.
Yes.
Oh, I know how we could flavor this. So we know our cat is not here necessarily on purpose, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they weren't sent here on purpose, maybe.
Ooh, okay.
Like, you gotta test your time travel stuff on something before you transfer back a human consciousness, right?
Okay, so we're like a lab rat, essentially. A lab cat, if you will.
Yeah, potentially.
What's a good way to put that, though?
Something like unknown experimental effects.
Okay, I like that.
It's like, we don't even know what was done to us. We don't know what effect it's gonna have. It could be anything. And that would be interesting, because it's something that could be used to, like, work against us from time to time, but also maybe sometimes give us some weird benefit.
Mm-hmm. What those benefits are, we don't know.
Yeah, whatever benefits you might get from doing unethical science experiments on a cat before sending its consciousness back in time.
Okay, our other aspect. Let's try to think of something that's, like, beneficial to our character, or could give them an advantage in specific situations.
Yeah.
Because, like, the biggest in the room thing made me think of, like, obviously we could be, like, the smallest person in the room. Could easily do something like quick getaway, or always has a spot to hide.
Maybe, like, small and flexible.
Okay, yeah, that'll work, and that will come in handy in a lot of situations.
Yep.
So, those are our aspects.
Hey guys, it's mid-roll time. Hope you're enjoying the obligatory spooky game for Spooky Month. We didn't have time to do any other one.
Did we not have time to do another one?
No, we didn't. We had a guest booked for the beginning of the month, and then we have Dragon Age booked for the end of the month. Those were kind of immovable deadlines.
Yeah, true. But what can you do? You know, you get one spooky episode.
And you're gonna like it.
Yeah, so we hope you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, well, you better start.
Yeah, because this is all you get for this year.
Maybe if you guys are good next year, we'll give you a second one, but TBD.
Yeah, who knows? The game release cycle may have us doing, well, no. I was gonna say that that we might have to do the Cyberpunk RPG, but there's absolutely no way they're gonna make a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077 by next year.
Yeah, surely not.
No way.
But you guys don't want to hear about video games. You want to hear about tabletop games. And what better way to hear about tabletop games than from our show, the one that you're listening to?
Yeah, you could go to www.badgertrove.com/literalcatpod to find more information about our show.
Yeah, we got lots of cool features over there. I believe you can find all the episodes linked over there, right, Joel?
They're all on the website somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, like, a good, like, way to scroll through them just from the Literal Cat Pod page, but, you know, if you go to the homepage, they're all listed there. They might be mixed in with some, episodes of Checkpoint, but that's fine.
But yes, if you go to that, you can find a bunch of stuff for the show, including our email, which, if you don't want to go to the website, is literalcatpod@gmail.com.
Yep, literalcatpod@gmail.com is indeed our email address. What can you do there?
You can send us stuff like game recommendations or challenges that you want us to do in games. You can send us pictures of your cat, and perhaps we will make a cat based off of your cat in a future episode.
Yeah, At this point in time, we are still recruiting people for Wild West Winter. Actually, at this exact moment, I don't think we have a guest for November.
Ooh.
We're getting dangerously close to that. And if we don't have someone to record in November, then my dream of getting one guest on per month for the whole year will be dashed.
Yeah,
we'll only have 11 out of 12. Breaks my heart. You don't want to break my heart, do you guys?
Yeah, come on. Reach out to all your TTRPGers out there.
Yeah, one of them has to know how to play a Wild West themed game.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love cowboys and such? Like, it's great. There's a million people out there that love cowboys. But besides our email, more direct ways to engage with us would be to follow the show's social medias, which are also linked on this page. We have Twitter, Tumblr, Blue Sky, and we are all at Literal Cat Pod on those sites, but we are at Literal Cat Podcast on TikTok.
Yep. Then we got our Discord server that you can join. That's for the whole Badger Trail community. That's going to be like Avalon's streams, my streams, chats. They'll all come in there. The Checkpoint with George Diaz show. Anyone who comes in from that show will join that Discord. You'll get to talk to all of them. But also, other Literal Cat Pod fans. You can populate it with that too if you go join.
Yeah, so get to know some more people who enjoy the show. And, sometimes Joel and I pop in there, say hey.
Yeah. But anyway, something that you won't find just from going to the webpage is a way to rate and review the show. I don't know if there's a way for me to link you to a service that does that, but really the best way to do it is going to be through your podcast app. Especially if that app happens to be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, what's another one? Good Pods.
Mm-hmm. Those are the only three I know.
I mean, there are other ones. I think Pocket Cast, that's what I use. Just got a sort of star system recently. But anyway, the more people give us a rating or even a review, but especially the ratings. If you don't have time for a review, just leave us some stars because that will boost the show's worthwhileness in the algorithms of the podcasting apps that have algorithms. And that means that it'll show up as a recommendation for people who like similar types of shows.
Yeah.
And you all know that you want our show to pop up as a recommendation under the people who are watching Adventure Zone or what's another one?
Critical Role, real big one.
Yeah, you want those people to no, I'm kidding.
In all seriousness, it helps boost us. And if you've been listening to the show for a while and you enjoy it, throw some stars at us. You got nothing to lose there. You don't have to write a review if you don't want to. It's not Mario Kart Party, okay? Don't be stingy with your stars. You can give them out. But yeah, help us out. If you, we've been making this for, over 2 years now? So.
At this point, yeah.
If you've been listening for a hot minute, come on. Just a few measly stars.
Just 5 stars. For the price of... No, it's not. It doesn't even cost money. Just...
For the low price of $0.
You can give Avalon some stars, and he's an alchemist. He will know what to do with them.
I will crush them up into stardust and mix them into all of my potions.
There you go. Don't forget, you can also go to bit.ly/literalcatpod to download the character sheet from this and any previous episode that catches your eye. Or ears, I guess.
You can use those to show off in your games. You can play as them. You can make them BCs. Whatever you want to do. They're there for free use.
Yeah, I would say most of them are perfectly viable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We do make literal cats, but we make useful literal cats.
I will say most of them are perfectly viable. I don't know about some of them.
Understandable. Yeah, there's a few that probably aren't incredibly in.
But anyway, I think that's everything from us. Avalon, do you have anything for yourself to promote?
Not really. I am still doing streams here and there over at twitch.tv/Avalon Alchemist. You'll be hearing this mid-October, so I will be either in the middle of Resident Evil 4 or moving on to Resident Evil 5. Other than that, you can follow me at Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Tumblr at Avalon Alchemist. Joel, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm also streaming at this point. All of my social medias have been converted from Denalo Lioge to Omammer VT, and that includes my Twitch page, where I am playing through the entire Dragon Age series. And yes, that will include the one by Green Ronin.
Which one is by Green Ronin?
The tabletop game.
Oh, right.
But anyway, I think that's enough from us. How about you guys just go back and finish up this episode?
Yeah. Find out the fate of Cthulhu by the end of this episode. You won't. That is not a guarantee.
And now we make our corrupted aspects.
Oh boy.
Corrupted aspects are a bit more complicated than the others. In addition to describing your character, they give you access to arcane power at a price in the form of a corruption stunt. If you don't have any corrupted aspects, you don't need to worry about this, at least not yet. If you do have corrupted aspects, you'll find more details about them on page 64, including examples. I think we should do that because, right, because we're from the future, so,
yeah,
our consciousness was transferred back in time, so that would just make sense.
Yeah, I think our best aspect to make corrupted would definitely be the unknown experimental effects, right?
Yeah, that would make sense. Let's see. Corrupted aspects are aspects that have been rewritten because their character has fallen under the power of a great old one. Because of the influence of ancient unknowable powers, these aspects are more easily compelled than invoked. So, again, unknown experimental effects.
Yep.
That would be an easy one for a game master to compel.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And a lot harder one for us to just invoke because of how vague it is. Be sure it reflects the dark, sinister powers that granted it, okay? Weird science. Definitely would do that. This aspect marks your character as otherworldly, giving you some broad permission to leverage that aspect, so go for broke when you're coming up with them. Okay, yeah, I think we've done that.
Yeah. Also, we unknowingly landed into this, too. The first aspect to be corrupted is any free aspect, and the last aspect to be corrupted is the high concept.
So, we actually planned this perfectly. Let's go.
Sweet. All according to plan.
Yeah, just go ahead and corrupt the one that already sounds like a corrupted aspect.
Got it.
Or I guess we do have, eventually, we'll have to worry about getting a corruption stunt for our aspect, right?
Yes. Don't believe it wants us to do that right now. Yeah, stunts are later, so I think we'll look at that in a couple steps.
Okay.
So we are on to skills. While aspects define who your character is, skills show what they can do. Each skill describes a broad category your character might have learned through study and practice, or simply have an innate talent for. A character with burglary is capable to some degree at all manner of crime relating to the fine art of burglary, casing a joint, bypassing security, pickpocketing, and lockpicking. Each skill has a rating. The higher the rating, the better the character is at the skill. As a whole, your character's skills will show you what actions they are built for. You'll choose your character's skill ratings arranged in a pyramid with the highest rated skill at great +4 as follows. So we have 1 great skill, 2 good skills +3, 3 fair skills +2, and 4 average skills +1. All other skills start at mediocre +0.
We're not poor, terrible, catastrophic, or horrifying at anything to start the game with, so that's nice.
Yeah, very good. So we have a skill list here. There's a lot of these.
Some of these are kind of self-explanatory. We've got academics, athletics, burglary, contacts, crafts, deceive, drive, empathy, fight, investigate, lore, notice, physique, provoke, rapport, resources, shoot, stealth, and will.
I see some pretty easy +4s in here. Athletics and stealth, for sure.
Yeah, we only get 1 +4, but...
Oh, true. Yeah. I think, well, never mind. We didn't specifically make the place to hide a thing.
No, but we are small and flexible, so... Again, either athletics or stealth we'd be pretty good at. I think whichever one we don't give a +4 to, we give the other one a +3.
Oh, for sure. I think athletics at a +4 could have a pretty good advantage. It's very usable with small and flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Stealth is as well to a point, but I think athletics might get a slight more use out of it, so the +1 bump over stealth might come in handy.
I agree.
+4, +3, so we need 1 more +3. We do have burglary on here.
This cat was a lab cat, right? So, I don't think it had the opportunity to learn how to bypass security systems or otherwise generally, commit crime and pickpocket and whatnot. Because if it did, it probably would have gotten away before its consciousness was transferred into the past.
True. We can look at some other stuff here for our next +3.
I like rapport. Build connections with others and work together. Where provoke is manipulation, rapport is sincerity, trust, and goodwill.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good +3 pick. Lots of people are very trusting of cats, you know?
Yeah, even when they shouldn't be.
You got a problem with cats, Jewel?
No, I'm just...
Oh, you're just saying that, like, not all cats are good guys.
Yeah, some probably shouldn't trust them.
Wouldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him. And it's pretty far, because he's real small.
Please do not throw the cat.
Yes, please do not throw your cats. Okay.
Unless they are weirdly into that.
True. I know my cat Genji likes being thrown onto the couch, because he does a little bounce when he lands.
Hey, I mean, have you ever been thrown before? It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I used to do Daggereer, which is full contact LARPing, and I've been thrown during that. It was pretty cool.
I didn't know you LARPed, Joel.
Yeah, I've still got my old foam sword and shield, too.
Nice. I'm assuming you've moved on to real sword and shield of steel with your numerous adventures I hear you go on.
Yeah, all the adventuring that I do. For sure. I definitely leave the house.
Alright, let's get back to looking at abilities.
Yep.
Notice could be a very good one. Very cat-like.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That could be one of our fairs.
Yeah, we're on to the +2s.
Okay. What is the difference between notice and investigate?
Investigate is intentional investigation, deliberate, careful study. Whereas notice would just be, like, your perception check in D&D.
Gotcha. What do you think? Should we give a +2 to investigate as well? For some
you know what?
Keen eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. One more fair to give out.
Okay. Let's see. This might be the time to do either provoke or deceive. Ability to lie and cheat convincingly with aplomb. Although I think maybe deceive would be kind of the same argument I had against burglary for this cat. If this cat was good at lying and cheating, then it may have survived in the future longer.
Yeah.
You know?
I think provoke might be the one to go deceive here. I feel like it would have to do less deceiving, so it would know less. But I feel like provoking is a pretty easy thing to, like, you know, even good people can provoke others to do stuff. Like, hey, we're good friends. Do you want to help me move? You know, I'll buy you pizza.
That's rapport.
That's true. That is rapport.
Provoke would be trying to make your friend who's got a truck that he never uses as a truck, use his truck as a truck to help you move. Otherwise, you'll call him a pavement princess.
Ah, true. Yeah, that definitely sounds more provoking. So was that our last +2? Yes.
Yep.
So we have 4 average, so +1s.
Now we might be able to do deception, because this is something we're only, like, good at, right?
Yeah. I think...
We're average.
Yeah.
I think this cat has, like, an average amount of cat deception.
What is the average cat deception? Ask your own cat at home.
Yeah, your cat's definitely not telling you everything.
Yeah. They're little liars. By the way, drive is probably... I want to clear the air on that one, because I initially thought it was, like, your motivation and stuff at first.
It literally means driving.
Yeah, it literally means driving. Because when we first read them out, I was like, oh, drive, that could be a good one to put into. And then as soon as I read it, I was like, nope.
No, what you're thinking of would be will.
Right. I think we probably should put a +1 in will, because, like...
Okay.
I feel like this cat has probably been through some stuff and has, like, the mental fortitude over...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, over some other cats.
Maybe a +1 to fight.
Fight, yeah, I was thinking fight or physique. Fight, I think...
Maybe both.
I mean, yeah, we could, because...
That would be all of our +1s, but...
I mean, yeah, but I can't think of an argument for any of the others that we have left.
Yeah, a cat would be pretty mediocre at building a network of contacts. Probably not all that good at crafting.
Mm-hmm.
Academics, absolutely not. We've already made a strong argument against burglary for this specific cat.
Yep.
Cats can't drive, usually.
Mm-mm.
Empathy, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this cat wouldn't like people all that much, despite its ability to interact well with them, right?
Yeah.
Because people put it in this situation.
So it's probably not entirely trusting of people right off the bat, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I think we've got a good list. So I'll run down the list since this is an audio medium. So
Of
we
course.
have academics 0, athletics +4, burglary 0, contacts 0, crafts 0, deceive +1, drive 0, empathy 0, fight +1, investigate +2, lore 0, notice +2, physique +1, provoke +2, rapport +3, resources 0, shoot 0, stealth +3, and will +1.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, we got a statted out cat.
Yeah.
Up next, we have Refresh. Your Refresh is the minimum number of fate points your character begins with. At the start of each session, your character begins with 3 Refresh. Alright, pretty simple.
Yeah.
And that goes to here.
Just the big old box.
Mm-hmm. What we got next?
Stunts. While every character has access to all the skills, even if they are mediocre at most of them, your character has some unique stunts. These are cool techniques, tricks, or bits of equipment that make your character unique and interesting. Where skills are about a character's broad competencies, stunts are about specific areas of excellence. They have, specific triggers to make them happen, and, they do, specific things that are not described by the average moves.
Okay.
We begin with 2 stunts. One of them must be a corruption stunt for us.
Okay.
Or wait, no. If your character starts corrupted, you also get 1 corrupted stunt. So, we have 1 corruption, so we should get 1 corruption stunt, as well as the 2.
Okay.
We can also spend a refresh to get an extra stunt, but since we're already getting 3, I think we don't need to do that.
Yeah, no. As with your corruption stunt, you may wish to wait until you finish your character before writing your corruption stunts. Okay.
So let's pick the other ones first, but we created an aspect that was just designed to be corrupted, so.
Yeah. Alright. Writing stunts. You write your own stunts when building a character. Broadly, there are 2 types of stunts. The first type of stunt gives you a +2 bonus when you use a named skill within certain parameters, usually limited to a specific type of action and a type of narrative circumstance. Write this type of stunt as follows. Because I describe how you are amazing or have a cool bit of gear, I get a +2 when I use pick a skill to pick 1, overcome, create an advantage, or defend, win, describe a circumstance.
Those are the fate moves,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah.
So, example bonus stunt here. Because I'm a military-trained sniper, I get a +2 when I use shoot to attack when I have a target in my sights.
Right.
So if you get the opportunity to line up a shot ahead of time, you roll shoot, and you get a +2 on it.
Makes sense.
Yep. So the second type of stunt changes the rules of the game. This is a broad category that includes, but is not limited to, the following. Swapping which skills are used in a given situation. For instance, a researcher might use academics to perform a ritual, while anyone else would use lore. Using an action with a skill that isn't normally used with it. For instance, allowing a character to use stealth to backstab an opponent from the shadows, which would typically be a fight action. Giving a character a different kind of bonus to skills that's roughly equivalent to a +2. For instance, when a skilled orator creates an advantage with rapport, it gets an extra free invoke. Or allowing a character to declare a minor fact is always true. For instance, a survivalist always has survival items, like matches, on their person, even under unlikely circumstances. Or allowing you to make a certain rules exception. For instance, a character might have 2 or more stress boxes, or another mild consequence slot. I think we should avoid things like rules exceptions for us because I'm not super... Okay, I'm fairly familiar with Fate, but not with this specific game, so...
Yeah, that's fair. So example of a rule-breaking stunt would be, because I am a physics PhD and don't believe in magic, I can use academics to defend against backlash, but only when using Great Old One tech. So they have to have a limitation on it.
Yep. I mean, that's the idea of stunts in general.
Yeah.
It's a specific situation in which you get to do a thing that other people don't get to.
Okay, so let's start with our +2 bonus stunt.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am...
Okay, I've got an idea. What about, because I am a small creature, I get a +2 when I use stealth to overcome, and we do this when we are trying to fit in somewhere that a regular person couldn't.
Okay, I like that.
We want to listen in on a conversation, we sneak under the couch.
Easy. Now we can move to our rule-breaking stunt.
I mean, technically we can have 2 that are work with the +2 bonus thing, but
Oh, okay.
I think it would be fun to do one of each.
Yeah. Trying to think of what a rule-breaking stunt could be for us.
Okay, what about allowing us to declare a minor fact that is always true? For instance, like this one has the example, a survivalist always has survival items like matches on their person, even under unlikely circumstances. So I think for us, maybe a good one would be, because we are a common house pet, people aren't as, like, cautious about what they say around us.
Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that's a good minor fact that could come in very handy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can probably move down to our corrupted stunt, which is on page 65. So, tapping into the power of the Elder Gods lets you do incredible things beyond human capacity, or cat capacity. Cat-pacity, if you will. This can manifest as physical abilities, powerful attacks, and access to weird science from outside of space and time. Corruption stunts do not cost refresh and cannot be purchased with refresh. The only way to get a corruption stunt is to corrupt an aspect, which we have done. At creation, a character starts with one corruption stunt per corrupted aspect they have. If a character corrupts an aspect during play, they gain a corruption stunt at the next minor milestone. Corruption stunts work like normal stunts, but are roughly twice as powerful. When only granting a skill bonus, they give a +4 rather than a +2. And those that create rules exceptions also grant a +2. And of course, the nature of the stunt must be justified by the aspect that created it.
Having eyes that glow an eerie violet light is unlikely to give you a +4 to athletics, for instance.
The cost is this. Using a corruption stunt makes you mark corruption. That's the downside of tapping into Eldritch power. You risk becoming that which you fight against. Particularly potent corruption stunts may also require you to pay a fate point or take a hit. Keep these in mind as you work out corruption with your GM. Okay, then we have some examples down here.
Okay. One of our potential aspects could be, like, if it's corrupted, grafted on Byakhee wings. They're too small to actually allow you to fly. Your wings would let you leap higher and farther than any human and descend slowly rather than falling. However, there's no way to hide your augmentation. The wings must be spread to function. So the stunt they have for that is Flight of the Bumblebee. It's physically impossible for these wings to grant you flight, but of course they can. You can mark corruption to unfurl your wings to their fullest extent, allowing you a moment of actual flight and +2 to athletics if you perform a feat of aerial maneuvering. You got Descendant of Dagon. The Innsmouth look. You're made for the water and can swim faster, longer, and more gracefully than a human without your particular ancestry. You also have a froggy, fishy appearance that is undeniably off-putting. So that would be the cost. Your body is adapting to life. Beneath the crushing pressure of the sea, you can mark corruption to gain a +4 bonus to physique when performing feats of raw strength.
Now we don't have to choose one of these, right? These are just examples?
No, these are examples.
Okay, so we have to create an aspect for these then?
Yes, we have. No, we've already created the aspect, which is the unpredictable effects of the experiments performed on us before we were sent back.
Right. So what should our stunt be? I'm thinking like, I don't know how plausible this would be, but maybe like displacing ourselves in space to get out of a sticky situation or something like that. You know, because I could assume that this cat could be used for infiltration and stealth a lot, but once we get caught, we don't really have a lot of ways to defend ourselves, so we could use a corrupted aspect to be like, I draw from the power of like the time travel that I've been sent with and like displace myself from where I'm currently at.
Ooh, that's good. I had an idea just now. Something like you can gain a temporary physical transformation that would give you a, like, I don't know, let's say +4 athletics bonus to, like, perform some feat of athletics. But if you don't spend either you mark corruption or spend a fate point or something like that.
I think so.
So let's say if you don't spend a fate point, then that transformation will leave a permanent mark on your form. So, like, if you grow temporary wings to fly away from something, but you don't spend the fate point, then you'll just be left with, like, a couple of bones sticking up out of your spine forever from that point on, or something.
So I do really like your idea of, like, if you don't spend the fate point, you have this permanent effect. Now, do we want to limit the effect, or would it just be like you can just grow different things depending on the situation, but if you don't have the fate point, your body is permanently altered?
Yeah. I don't think it's like, oh, like you grow wings to fly out of a bad situation. But if you don't spend a fate point, you keep the wings. It's like it's still a temporary transformation, but it'll leave some mark.
Oh, like a scar.
Yeah, or like the bones that are like the base of the wings don't go away, so you just have these weird spiky nubs sticking up out of your back.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that.
Basically, the more you use it, if you're not willing to spend the points to like stop the spread of the corruption or whatever, then it will leave a mark that other people will see, and you'll potentially no longer be identified as a regular old cat.
Yeah. Okay.
Which would make one of our abilities a lot harder to activate. Because, like, if people don't think we're just a regular old cat, they're not going to let their guard down around us.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a way to word this. I can adapt to any situation by...
Maybe, like, by physical transformation.
Yeah.
But the transformation will leave a mark if I don't spend a fate point. And that would be, like, a +4 to athletics to overcome an obstacle.
Cool. So that is our corrupted stunt.
Yeah. And that might be it.
I think we still have one thing, right?
Let's see. Aspects, skills, stunts, stress. So yeah, stress and consequences is next. Although I don't think there's a lot we have to do with that right now.
Probably not, but let's go through it for the audience.
Yeah. Stress and consequences are how your character withstands the mental and physical toll of their adventures. Characters start with 3 1-point boxes for physical stress and 3 1-point boxes for mental stress.
Okay.
They also get 1 slot each for mild, moderate, and severe consequences. Your rating in physique affects how many total physical stress boxes you have. Will does the same for your mental stress. Refer to the following table. So we have a +1 in physique and will, right?
Let me check. Yes.
So that means that we would get 1 additional physical and mental stress box.
Pretty good. Kind of OP.
I mean, it's pretty good. With a 3 or 4, it would have been 3 additional boxes. And if we somehow managed to get a +5, we would get another mild consequence SWAT.
Hey.
Now we're on to finishing touches.
Sweet. Give your character a name and description and discuss their history with other players. Not here. If you haven't yet written down a relationship aspect or decided effects on a corrupted aspect, do so now. So we are not dealing with other players or the relationship aspect here, but we can give our character a name and description.
Yep. Let's see. What kind of cat is this?
What kind of cat indeed? Man, I'm not really sure.
What cat? I'm trying to find like a thing, like obviously like cats being used in laboratories are like victims of some serious abuse and whatnot. So, but there's not like a specific breed. It's just they choose cat breeds that are known for having a docile and even temperament.
Mm.
So maybe a ragdoll.
A ragdoll.
Yeah. Ragdolls are affectionate, low energy, laid back types of cats.
Ragdoll cat. What color?
One moment. Ragdoll cats in the pictures I'm seeing are like white with some light brown patterns in their fur.
Oh, okay.
Or gray.
Do we just want to do like a toasted marshmallow type cat?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe them. They kind of look like a lightly toasted marshmallow.
Okay.
Is marshmallow a good name for this cat?
Honestly, yeah. I think so.
Okay.
God, the beloved cat Marshmallow in the pre-post-apocalyptic world. So the pre-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Pronouns. I'm thinking she, her for this. Marshmallow seems like
She, her?
Yeah, seems like a good she, her cat.
Alright.
Or if you want to get funny with it, a her, she cat. You know, your marshmallow.
Ah ha 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 ha. Okay, yeah, you do. Please write it down like that, actually.
I got you. Alright. I think that's it. That is the Fate of Cthulhu cat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds pretty good.
I think the character creation on here was pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Fate game, so...
Yeah, I'm always a fan of the open-ended skills.
This is the first one that we've looked at, though, where, like, they didn't give us, like, a bunch of pre-made stunts.
Yeah.
So, that was, I don't know, kind of inconvenient, but now I understand how making a stunt works. So, like, if we're ever playing another Fate game, like, at some point I really want to do the Leverage RPG, because that was a great show. The game's out of print, so it's going to be hard to find a copy. But, you know, if there's, for any bizarre reason, not a good fit for a cat, in the Leverage RPG that, you know?
Yeah.
This is a fairly common refrain with Fate games, but other than violating the expectation that we are a human being, we didn't break a single rule. Yep. So we did break the one.
It's always that one pesky rule. No. Being a human.
Yeah.
Ah, well.
Always gets in the way.
Yeah, I think we got to basically every aspect that we could, besides obviously the relationship, but that's up to the listeners who play Marshmallow.
Yeah. And we were also, we selected a timeline, but there's nowhere to write that on the character sheet, and so we were kind of intentionally vague about what kind of future we came from.
Yeah, so...
Even though we did select Dark Pharaoh, if we had to say, but...
I mean, sounds like the coolest one, so...
Yeah.
No hate if you don't run your game in the Dark Pharaoh timeline.
Yeah. No hate if you make the Dark Pharaoh the same as the White Pharaoh.
Are you talking about that history book picture?
Yeah. Where it's just some generic, American and or European looking guy in the...
Yeah, in a pharaoh, headdress or whatever you call that.
Yep.
Gotta love American textbooks, man. They came up with some whack stuff.
They certainly did do that. But anyway, yeah, this was Fate of Cthulhu.
Nice.
Hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully the concept is not so off-putting to those of you that actually enjoy the Cthulhu mythos. If it was, we understand if you skipped this episode, but also, if you skipped this episode, you didn't hear me say that, so... Anyway, I'm stalling. Avalon, do you have a cat pun?
I sure do.
Oh, I didn't need to stall. Okay.
What does a cat use to mix the ingredients for their cake?
The meow mixer?
No. An automatic whisker.